What are your tips and tricks to manage team creativity?
Manage team creativity. If you are with a group of any people and you want to encourage creativity, the best thing you can do is leave them alone. Not leave them alone, but don't interfere. You know, the worst thing, because it's like being a parent, the worst thing for your kid is if they come up with an idea and you immediately go, that's a great idea, let me improve it for you. Because you killed it straight away. Because the person goes, oh, my idea was good, but not good enough. Not good enough for dad, you know? And in any group, if you are a team leader, whatever, you have to let it go. The best thing you can do when the group's being creative is walk away and make the coffee, you know? And then come back in every half an hour, have a quick look, and when they're not making noise anymore and they're not busy talking and coming up with scribblings and things and everything else, come and go, so what's happened then? And then you can look at it, and I'm a big believer in, if you can, facilitating, which is a kind of one of these, you know, touchy-feely type words, but actually it's quite powerful if you do it right, because what you do is you allow the people to criticize themselves but feel good about it, because they take responsibility for the second verse. So you sit back and go, so yeah, second verse sounds pretty good. What do you think about that bit at the end? And then you can see them going, yeah, we were wondering about that. What were you wondering about that? We thought that it was maybe a bit sort of, you know, could be a bit harder, a bit tougher at the end there. You think, yeah, I kind of thought that myself actually, but what can we do about that? And suddenly comes up with ideas about, but they've done it themselves. You know, and the same thing in business. You know, you've got to let people come up with their own ideas. Even if you can see maybe the solution at the end of it. You know, take 10, 20 minutes and let them come up with a solution. And sometimes they may come up with a better solution, the one that you didn't see. You know, you have to work through it. You know, it's worthwhile taking the time to work through a problem and look at all aspects of it before you make a decision. And in fact, in the airlines, we have an actual process that we go through, a decision-making process when there's a problem. And because on a jet airliner, you think, oh my God, something's gone wrong, something's broken, you know, whatever. Actually, there are so many layers of redundant systems in there that it's not usually a disaster. However, you can make it a disaster really easily by acting in haste and acting quickly before you've considered all the problems. So the first thing that happens in a jet airliner when things go wrong is, you know, as long as the airplane's still flying and everything's okay, sit on your hands and say, okay, what's happened? Next question, why has it happened? Now that's a different question. Why has it happened? Go through a process. And about halfway through the process, well, the process is quite simple. You diagnose the problem, and once you've spent a long time going through all the possible things that could have caused it, that might cause it, you then look at your options. Okay, how do we fix it? Can we fix it? Where should we fix it? Should we go and land over here? What would be the problem there? Maybe we couldn't fix it there. So maybe we just carry on. Okay, these are our options. Next thing, you make a decision. Okay, I think we'll do this. Because we've looked at all our options, that's the best option. And then you manage, you assign. You say, okay, so we're going to do this option. I'm going to do this. You, Fred, are going to do that. And then we'll call in our other team, explain the situation, and tell them how they're going to help. And then the last thing you do is about 10 minutes, half an hour, whenever it is, you look at the outcome, you review it, and you go, okay, we had a problem, we made a decision, are we getting the result that we wanted? If not, go back to the top and run it again. And I was very lucky to have been a guest on it was actually a nuclear submarine. And I went to sea as a sailor in a nuclear submarine for 3 days underwater. And they allowed me to go and ask all kinds of questions. And they did have a technical problem, and they had to go. Eventually, they had to go back to base to fix it. But what was impressive, because I went and they showed me what the problem was, and I went, well, you can't. They're going to have to go back and fix it, you know. Now, they didn't do that straight away. They got about 30 guys. They got the plans of the whole submarine out. They had a 2-hour conference about every option of could they fix it? If they couldn't fix it, could they do something else? Could they do this? Could they do that? And only after they had explored every single option did they go, we're going to have to go back and fix it. So that, I found that really impressive, because it would have been really easy for the commander to just go, yep, we're going to fix it. And that was what was staring them in the face. But they didn't do that. They went through every option. I thought that was the most impressive thing about the whole trip, actually.